Greetings and salutations, this is Hugh Jarsz, the biggest YouTuber ever! And good morning, Jarsouls! Welcome to the latest episode of the Weekly Jarsz for the week ending the 23rd of December 2023, Christmas Eve. Just one more day till some skinny dude, compared to me at least, starts creeping into children's bedrooms while they sleep. Anyway, a special shout out to those that clicked subscribe this week. Welcome to the world of Jarsz. I hope you enjoy the show. We'll be laughing at the willfully stupid as always. This week, as always, we'll look at some news. Then we'll have our regular look at CC and Level Earth Observer. And we will look at our idiot of the week this week. I should give an honourable mention to Caleb from TikTok, who seems to have somehow gone even more insane since FDFE demolished him a couple of weeks ago. Now he's not even hiding the fact that he sympathises with those naughty Germans from World War II anymore. You know, those with the name that YouTube doesn't like us saying. I'll let him derp a bit more before I cover him. Maybe next week. He'll probably make next week, but definitely the week after, I think. It'll probably be a shorter show today, unless any members would like to join me on the stream to discuss what we're looking at. Let me know in the chat. Or send me a Discord message. That's probably the easiest way. But before I get into all that, I want to thank my YouTube members. Thank you once again for all that you do for me, and thanks for being part of the Hugh Jarsz movement. And I didn't get time to update the list this week, but now we have a week of lazy summer days to enjoy before the new year. I'm sure I'll get time to do it for next week. If you choose to support me like these people, please click that join button below this video. But I appreciate not everyone can, so you can also help me by super chatting or just keep coming back to watch. Oh, Daryl M used his members super chat there. Merry Christmas. Yes, Merry Christmas to you, Daryl M. But yeah, the best way to support me is keep coming back to watch each time. You can give the video a like, and you can sharing it on social media. It really helps the algorithm. So please do that. All right, now for a look at the news. And our first news item is that in Canada, an escaped kangaroo was captured after punching a Canadian police officer. Let's have a look at this video. Slippy, the bush kangaroo. This one's Canadian.
We had previous knowledge of the kangaroo being on the loose in the area. So in a rural property just on the north side of Oshawa, two of our officers located the wayward marsupial. Were able to keep eyes on him for several hours until just before 7 a.m. They were able to successfully apprehend the kangaroo. So in accordance with best practices by the handlers, the officers actually just grabbed it by the tail, and they were able to safely keep her contained in the area. Only one of the officers was actually struck in the face during the apprehension, but he'll be just fine, and we won't be continuing the investigation.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I got to stop the ad. There we go. Yes, I found that funny. Stringer News 1 used his member super chat. Happy Festivus, yes. And Stringer News 1, I expect to see the feats of strength. On the next story, a rather sad one, but a doggy story nevertheless. Bobby, the world's oldest dog, died in Portugal, aged 31, the only canine in recorded history to ever reach his 30s. That's sad. Poor old Bobby. He was a good boy, obviously. Portugal. And the previous record was set in 1939 by an Australian cattle dog that died at 29 years and 5 months. Odd that a cattle dog would live that long. They have pretty hard lives running after sheep and things. And cattle. It's even me to say sheep when it's cattle. A cattle dog. Yes, Godspeed, Bobby. What a pretty little dog too. Doesn't look 31. Must be an old picture. Is there another picture? And of course it's not loading. Oh yes, he looks a bit old there. Poor old fella. We're going to miss Bobby. Still on a dog theme, we're going to jump to Mexico. Oh, of course the ad's going to play. All right, let's forget that then. I'll just read the story. A modern art exhibition is open for dogs as well as humans. Dogs and the special bond they have with humans have inspired artists for thousands of years. Now, the Museo Tomeo in Mexico City has put together an exhibition of modern art pieces that both humans and their furry friends can visit. Lorenza Erasti, curatorial assistant for the museum's collection, said the exhibition is a selection of works from the museum's collection, what a surprise, and was designed so that both dogs and owners can experience the works. The main reason I chose this story is this picture here. A corgi, of course. And of course, they just called it a dog. It's not just a dog, it's a corgi. Goodness me. Oh, that reminds me, actually. Let me just call that up. I forgot to do that at the beginning. We're up down to 2 corgis herding. You would have seen this on my community page. The 12 corgis of Christmas. So we've had the Derpy Smiles, and tomorrow, 1 corgi queen to rule them all. Of course, the 12 days of Christmas are after Christmas, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a bit of fun. Where was I there? All right. Oh, and the corgi gets a hug in the second photo. Not that he looks like he's enjoying it. And this is an interesting story. I'll play the video on this one. Oh, no sound. Maybe I'll leave the sound off if it's just gonna play music. So the toilet's named America, valued at $6 million. I presume that's US. So if the toilet was recovered, was it also clean? And that's the end of that one. And I understand that the 4 people who were apprehended said that their boss's name was Donald. I'm not sure what that means. They didn't say anything else. That is the news. Yes, I'll stop. Ryan Cooper, I was trying to stop the presumably copyrighted music from playing. Okay, that's the news. Now, let's go to the Derpers. No, not that one. Not that one. That's later. Level Earth Observer. So, I was hoping he might drop one. In fact, he did drop another video, and I think he removed it. So I didn't get to actually play that. It was there last night, I think. So, but his latest movie? His latest video is the one I played last week. So there's no point playing that one this time. He does have a short that I haven't looked at yet. How do I make this bigger? Oh, here we go. Let's have a look at this. Where's the sound? Oh.
Makes more sense to someone using logic here. Am I driving this crane on top of a cannonball that's doing 500,000 miles an hour, flying through space, whilst I'm spinning and wobbling and oscillating? Or do you think I might be on a non-rotating Earth?
Flirts and their incredulity. Yes. It's just because you're incredulous, Leo, that you have a problem with this. You don't understand that all speed is relative. Your crane, relative to the Earth, is stationary. What it's doing outside of that is irrelevant to what you're doing on it. As long as everything's the same on Earth, you're not going to have a problem. I don't know why you can't comprehend that. Even children can do it.
Which isn't moving anywhere, thankfully. What do you think here? What makes more sense, I wonder?
Well, you never make sense, Adam, so not you.
Let's just have a think about this.
Well, it's about time you started. Oh, that's an evil laugh, isn't it? Oh, I did the same. Well, Level Earth Observer. Thank God we only have to look at him once today. Unfortunately, CC has put out 2 videos. The second one is probably more amusing than the first. Yes, Orion Cooper, his name's Adam. He doesn't like to admit to that, but watch Where's Wally's videos. And yes, Where's Wally always refers to him as Adam, and I like to do that too because apparently it pisses him off, and you've got to do that. All right, this is CC. What did he call this one? Thinking on Our Flat Earth. Well, it's about time someone did, but I suspect that's not what's happening. Let's have a look at what CC has to say.
You know, it's rare that you catch this. What looks closer to you here? Pop quiz, guys. What looks
More incredulity.
closer to you here? This plane right here. Is that focused in? Yeah. That looks focused in there. Or this little guy right here.
Well, given that the plane's probably 200 meters long and the moon is 4,000 kilometers across, I'd say the moon was further away. Otherwise, it's going to be right in their faces.
Huh? What looks closer to you? I don't know. I mean, I dare to say the moon actually looks closer to me.
And you're an expert at judging objects from distances, are you? And not just some random idiot crank on the internet.
Then that the plane that's spewing out chemtrails, of course, but that's all right.
You're correct. Water is a chemical.
And it's we're going into a big storm this weekend, so.
Another point on that is that you saw how tiny that the chemtrail was compared to the rest of the sky, and we're only looking at a tiny part of the sky. It's just such a ridiculous conspiracy theory, that one.
Yeah. I don't know. Why don't you give me an idea? Or who is ever watching this? Personally, the moon looks a hell of a lot closer. Sorry, I'm in the office.
What do you base that on, CC? If it's 4,000 kilometers across, why does it look closer?
The windows are fucking dirty as shit, so it's not my fault.
Why include that in your video? Why?
I don't clean windows in the office.
Obviously.
Anyway, okay, there it goes. Yeah, well, that's it, guys.
Thank God for that. Well, that was pointless, wasn't it? Idiots being incredulous. That's what Leo and CC are all about, aren't they? Speaking of which, CC's in his kitchen again, which people always like to see. But he's whispering. I wonder why. Is it because his wife's in the next room and doesn't want him doing this shit? Let's see.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County.
That's full volume, guys. I can't turn him up. That's what I mean. He's whispering because he doesn't want his wife to hear him.
12/17/23.
That's very helpful, Chris. You got the month and the date around the wrong way, though.
I know.
No, CC, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't have bothered to make this video.
I know, it's Christmas week. You'll be going to a lot of parties.
You have friends?
Probably wondering what to do. Somebody brings up politics. Shut your mouth.
Are you hearing this okay, guys? This is the important bit. You're saying someone brings up politics, shut your mouth. Well, that's general thing because, you know, that gets people upset and you don't want to do that.
Somebody brings up SpaceX, shut your mouth.
Somebody brings up SpaceX, shut your mouth.
Somebody brings up electric cars, shut your mouth.
Oh, you can hear him? Yeah, it is very quiet. I can't do anything about it. It's on maximum volume. He's being quiet because of his wife. So I won't translate if you can hear.
What can you talk about? You see, flat earthers, myself, have to be chaperoned when we go.
Stringer News 1, you can't understand him. Well, that's no one can understand him. He just said that flat earthers like himself have to be chaperoned at parties.
Go to these parties.
Hang on, let me put on the closed captions. Maybe that'll help. There we go. I don't have to translate now.
In fact, I wouldn't even recommend going.
I agree, CC. You shouldn't be out with other people.
I would just say stay home.
Yes, stay in the basement of your mum's trailer, like Orflers.
Or you'll save a lot of money for Christmas, of course, by opening.
But Flurfs don't have money. You need to have a saleable skill to be able to do that.
Your mouth and telling the truth. But this
CC, you never tell the truth. You spew out bullshit about flat Earth.
is not a good time to do it. And that's why I've invented a hotline for all flat earthers while they're at these gatherings.
The closed captions is hilarious. It was a hotline for all flat earthers, not a hot mine for all flight earthers.
Long press 1 on your cell phone, and that'll put you directly in help mode. Okay.
Well, that's actually good advice. Flat earthers definitely need help.
No, in all seriousness, download the app.
And now he's pushing Durst app.
It's an answer to all your questions.
An answer, yes. A correct answer, no.
I'm going to put a link below. Just download it. It's $2.99.
I'll just confirm that that's Durst app. Where's his link? Oh, okay. It doesn't come up with any information. Oh, he even has a reference code. I wonder if that means he gets a cut. Does that take me to the app? Yes, it's Durst app for sure.
It's got everything you need to know. Somebody asked you about eclipses. It's there. Somebody asked you
It's a dumb answer, but it'll be an answer, yeah.
about the sun, how far away it is. It's there. The moon, it's there. NASA, it's there. All of it's there. Just download the app.
And be brainwashed, just like CC.
And don't forget, make me a salmon, at least. CC 911.
I'm not sure what "make me a salmon" means. Is that like a supporter thing in the app? Or, I don't know. I haven't used the app, so I have no idea. Hopefully none of you have either. Don't give a scammer money.
You probably don't know what that means, salmon, but if you click, you'll find out. That's it, I'm done.
You certainly are. And you've allowed yourself to be brainwashed by an idiot and a grifter. I mean, how shameful. Surely you've seen this.
I'm a scammer. I'm a scammer. And I'm a scammer. I'm a scammer. And I'm a scammer. Dave's a scammer. He's just selling his app. Dave's a scammer. He's just selling his app. $3 from you for his app. Dave Weiss is a scammer. Dave Weiss is a scammer. Dave Weiss is a scammer. I'm just trying to sell his app. Dave Weiss is a scammer. Dave Weiss is a scammer. Dave Weiss is a scammer. I'm a scammer. I'm a scammer. I'm just trying to sell apps. I'm just trying to know the earth isn't flat. Dave's a moron. Dave's a moron. Dave just wants your money. Dave's a scammer. Dave's a scammer. He's selling a useless app. He's selling a useless app. He's just selling apps. He doesn't believe the earth is flat. I'm a scammer. I'm trying to sell an app. That's all I'm trying to do. So I'm giving you all this bullshit. I'm giving you all this bullshit.
Thanks to MC Toon for permission to use that. All right, CC, we're done with you for this week, I think. Now we move to our Idiot of the Week. And it's the channel Flat Earth Tess, run by Brian Leake. Oh, God. Yes, it's our ever-reliable mega-derper, Brian Leake. Brian is the epitome of flirt. No real intelligence, doesn't know anything about anything, but seriously deluded that he's the smartest brainer that ever did brain. I've got one fun vid to show you of his, and then we'll get into his two-parter on the Gleason's map. Ryan Cooper, you're on fire today. If you're a scammer and you know it, be Dave Weiss. Yes. Oh, no echo, Jinx, you said, so that's good. Oh no, Goran says that there was an echo. Damn it. I don't know why Google don't fix it. I tried to do it in another browser, but I couldn't get it to work. So hopefully I'll figure that out for next week. We'll see how we go. Chrome is so good for so many things. You think it'd be good at this. Anyway, Flat Earth Test. So, yeah, we had a look at him when the Daily Jarsz was running. There's a few videos we had a look at. Some of them are just really dumb. Like this one is just a clip from a movie and which somehow proves flat Earth. I couldn't figure it out. As you can see, we got the Gleason's maps here. They're the two we'll look at. He debated MC Toon and got absolutely creamed. It was like, a lion and a mouse. But Brian Leake still thought he won. It was hilarious. But his most recent video is this one, the Astronaut Olympics. Oh, sorry, no, that's not what I'm going to look at. The monohull yacht speed record proves the Southern Hemisphere is larger than the North. Let's have a look at what he's got to say about that. There's a bit of music at the beginning. I think, is it there? I'll mute for a bit. So let's pause there. So this is referring to the, I forget what it's called now. The Vendée Globe race, which is around Antarctica. It's westward against the prevailing winds of the North Atlantic over a distance. North Atlantic for going around. Oh, okay. This is the transatlantic bit. So, yeah, he's comparing a transatlantic race to one around Antarctica as somehow proof that it's bigger in the Southern Hemisphere. So this race is a distance of 3,000 nautical miles, 5,600 kilometers. So that shows what the Northern Hemisphere is like. And let's see how far it goes. So, oh yeah, that's the yacht that did it. That set the record at least. So 25.7 miles per hour average. So the Vendée Globe in the Southern Hemisphere takes between 70 and 130 days, a distance of 45,000 kilometers. Brian, I know you've been told this, but if you look, oh, what's this? Look at the route. It starts in France. So it's not just the bit around Antarctica. It's from France down to Cape Horn, and then from the Cape of Good Hope back up to France. That's almost half the Earth's circumference, this bit, both ways. So you're adding that on to the trip around Antarctica, which, of course, on this map is very distorted because of the Mercator projection. Take off this bit. You can't add that in because it's not helping the case that you're trying to say. I think that's all his argument. I think I've addressed it, but there's another 30 seconds, so let's go through. still playing copyright music, so I won't do that. So no wonder you got it wrong. Flurf don't maths. But why would you do that? It's different winds. It'd be traveling at a different speed. I hope you understand how stupid that was. It's I've left speechless at how stupid it was. Does anyone want to join me? Let me check if I've got a Discord message before I get into this. Doesn't look like anyone wants to join me. Oh, poor Hugh's all alone. All right, we'll have a look at the Gleason's map. So he's got two parts. This is part one. Let's have a look at this derp.
Recently, Globers have been making the claim that the azimuthal equidistant map is a projection of a globe, and that is because they clearly do not understand it. It can't possibly be a projection of a globe, and I will...
Oh, really? Well, let's have a look at the patent. I just Googled it. There it is. That's the patent. Down here, let's search for the word globe. On the face of the map proper and within another circle, still towards the center, is laid out the continents, principal islands, rivers, and cities of the world, their latitudes and longitudes corresponding to the latitudes and longitudes of all other first-class geographical globe maps or charts of the world. Next globe reference. And as their proper relations of continent, excuse me, and as the proper relations of continents and countries all stand in their relative position to each other, they thus impress upon the mind of the student the extortion of the map from that of a globe consists mainly in the straightening out of the meridian lines, allowing each to retain their original value from Greenwich, the equator, to the two poles. So what Gleason himself, in his own words, is saying, he started with a globe and stretched it out. And the last reference, oh, yeah, that's not relevant. So Brian is saying that Globers say it's a projection of a globe. So does Alexander Gleason in the patent. You saying he was lying? How do you know that?
will explain. For example, like MC Toon has a sextant challenge, but won't let us use the AE map, saying it's a globe projection.
Well, get your real map. Why do you have to go with something that's a globe projection? If flat Earth is real, you should have a real map. Just use it. But if you don't have a real map, why is that? Why don't you even ask that question?
Which shows either he's dishonest. Well, we know he's dishonest, but in this example, he's either dishonest or doesn't understand it. So
now, I don't know where that rooster came from, but I didn't put it there. That's on his video. I'll prove it to you.
dishonest or doesn't understand it. So
yes. So is he doing this video from a barnyard or something? Yeah, so he's saying that MC Toon is dishonest or doesn't understand it. Well, you're disagreeing with Alexander Gleason himself, Brian. So tell me, which should it be? Who's more credible, the bloke who created the damn thing, or you, a guy sitting in a barn?
I'll let you be the judge, but let me explain why the distances are correct.
The distances aren't correct. It's almost half. If you flew from Sydney to Santiago, and it does not go over North America, in fact, it goes to the south of New Zealand. The path would come down like this. That's almost half the globe. Well, half the flat Earth map. Planes can't fly that far. So the distances aren't correct.
like from Perth to Sydney, from Santiago to Sydney. They're all accurate as is. I'm going to
So you're just going to say that. You're not going to demonstrate it.
explain and go into detail on how this map works.
Well, I hope you do, but I'm pretty sure you won't. Oh, String News 1, 3 times Brian denies reality? Only 3? I guess you can only count to 3.
After you learn how this thing works, you will probably agree with me that Gleason was a super genius. Like, he literally figured out a way to accurately scale the flat Earth while simultaneously matching the celestial sphere or celestial dome.
Is the cock crowing again? Is the cock saying this guy's an idiot? No, Gleason disagrees with you. You are putting that on him.
It's pure genius. I'm gonna tell you
I think that rooster has more genius than you do.
in this video why I think this map was almost lost to history, and I'm gonna show why I think some scientists about lost their minds trying to figure this out.
Yes, lost minds. I'm not sure you should be talking about that, Brian. You're taking forever. Let's speed you up a bit. All right, let's go.
And I'm gonna break it down. So buckle up. So what Gleason figured out is if you're gonna have a longitude and time calculator measuring angles and azimuths to stars, sun, moon, planets, whatever, you have to have an azimuthal equidistant map. And the trick is they just acting like
Those are words to him. He doesn't understand what azimuthal or equidistant means.
the azimuthal equidistant map is pertaining to the center, just because it's
If you understood what azimuthal equidistant means, you'd understand it's a projection of a globe. God.
centrally projected. That's not the case. The azimuths are equidistant to every celestial body at all times, at any position.
So he clearly doesn't know what an azimuth means. It's only azimuthal from the North Pole.
Otherwise, it wouldn't work. And it does work.
It doesn't work. I have driven Brisbane to Adelaide and I have flown Brisbane to Perth. That's 3 hours. On this map, that's further than across the US, almost double. Does it take 3 hours to fly? Or 3.5 hours? Does it take 3.5 hours to fly across the US? Takes a lot longer, doesn't it? So to go even further, as shown on this map, it should take even longer than that, not 3.5 hours.
But what's funny is reality would have it no other way. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that, and then I'm going to break it down.
I'm not sure you have much to do with reality, Brian. So, yeah, I don't know who this person is, but let's see what she says.
Mathematician trying to figure out the circumference, the outer edge of this wheel. Now, you can't exactly use a ruler, and measuring tapes don't exist yet. So what can you do? Well, one way would be to roll it one full rotation and measure the distance it traveled. You're feeling extra curious today, and you want to try the same thing with a differently sized wheel, but then you notice something interesting. There is actually a smaller circle inside the larger wheel, which seems to have traveled the same amount. So does that mean it has the same circumference? Well, that doesn't seem right. Intuition tells you that the smaller circle should have a smaller circumference and therefore should have traveled a shorter distance. So what's going on? This is a paradox known as Aristotle's wheel, and it originated in an ancient Greek text called Mechanica. It tortured mathematicians and philosophers for centuries.
I'm sure it hasn't tortured mathematicians for centuries. They've discussed it maybe for that long, but yeah. I'm not sure about the music here. So I might just have to break it up a bit. Yeah. Oh, we're still going with this music. Okay. Yeah, we've seen it roll back and forth. We get that. Oh, it's still going. Come on. Oh, hang on. That'll do.
Mathematicians went crazy over circles. So we're expected to believe that mathematicians were driven insane trying to understand the fact that any circle on a wheel rolls out to the same distance like hands on a clock.
He's not going where I think he's going, is he? God, I hope not.
As long as it's part of that circle, it's going to roll out to the same distance. And that's
So do you think the flat Earth rolls out, do you?
how the AE map works. Gleason, and I don't think it was just that simple fact, like they couldn't figure out hands on a clock. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's because they were trying to map out the flat Earth. That's what drove them crazy. That seems more realistic to me. So I'm going to ask the Globers listening to put your flat Earth hat on for a second. If we're using circular latitude.
Hang on, get copious amounts of tinfoil and something that removes my brain at the same time. Yeah, my flat Earth hat. It's pretty.
To scale accurately and also project a celestial dome, we can't. You just think of this: if we have 3 big ass square countries, one toward the North Pole, like right at Cancer, one at the equator, and one at Capricorn, okay, they're going to all be different sizes. When measuring angles, you can't do that on a flat map in 2 dimensions, even on a flat plane in reality. It just doesn't work unless you have a.
But that's precisely what Gleason's trying to do.
True azimuthal equidistant map, meaning.
But it still doesn't work if the distances don't match.
Wherever you're at, your azimuth to everything is going to be equidistant. So
no, it doesn't mean that. It means from one particular point, all the azimuths are equidistant. And that points to the North Pole in this case. Oh, my brain hurts. This makes my brain sad.
Picture this. You have a giant hand of a clock coming from the North Pole in reality. Let's say it's 20 miles high.
Oh, you have a giant hand on the North Pole in reality, do you? It's just fantasy, Brian. It's all fantasy.
Let's say we're at the Tropic of Cancer. We got this giant hand of a clock. We've got a light bulb on it right over Cancer, right over, and it's 20 degrees from us. So we're going to get a certain distance. So why would traveling south and measuring light over Capricorn give us a different distance? It's still 20 degrees.
What the hell are you talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about.
And it's still 20 miles high, or whatever height. It doesn't matter the height. If the angle is
20 degrees from what? Is it this 20 degrees? Is it this one? You haven't said.
Same, then you can form a circle of equal altitude around it. It's not going to change in reality. So that's the G.
I don't think he understands what a circle of equal altitude actually means as well.
Genius of Gleason's map. We can easily put this map to the test. Well, maybe not easily, but all we need to do is use the sun or the moon's zenith angles at Capricorn, Cancer, and the equator for whatever distance. Because if this map is accurate and it's a true depiction of reality, then they'll be the same at Capricorn, Cancer, and the equator. So to make this match reality, we just have to make the countries smaller relative to where you're at. So if you are based in the north,
you just have to make countries smaller. And this is what makes it work. I think you've just pointed out the flaw in your own argument, Brian.
Then countries are going to be smaller in the north. If you're in the south, then the countries are smaller in the south. And there's a program.
What? Smaller in the south? Australia is clearly much bigger than it actually is compared to the US, at least, which is in the north. Now, if you'd said in the north they're a bit smaller and in the south they're a bit bigger, that would make sense. But how can they be smaller in both?
That depicts this, which I'm going to show in part 2. For example, Australia is about the same width as the United States in miles. It appears wider on the AE map. If you understood the map, you'd understand that it is the same distance. It's
so you actually know that flaw. And yet somehow you're using it as an argument for the veracity of the map.
Simply further away from the central location of that particular projection. So if we were centered in the southern hemisphere, then the United States would be wider. The distance in miles didn't change, just the width it appears on the map changed due to your location.
I think I need to play a meme, and I can't find them quickly. There it is. My brain hurts. Did he just say If you're in Australia, America would be bigger.
And it's the same thing for the star trails. If you're in the north, then the star trails are going to get smaller toward the north. If you're in the south, the star trails are going to get smaller there.
Yes, because it's a globe. What's that got to do with the flat Earth?
I'm still working on my last video on celestial navigation, but I'm going to break that part down a little further.
Well, as far as I can tell, he hasn't produced that yet. So, Texas, that's a tiny state. I mean, the state of Queensland is 3 times the size of Texas. So why would you want to go claim Texas is big?
I will give you a hint so you could make sense of it in your mind and visualize it. Obviously, we still have Polaris, and all the stars rotate around Polaris, but they're slightly different heights as you
No,
move away
they
from
don't.
Polaris. Just to make
All the stars don't. All the stars in the northern hemisphere do. I go out into my front yard, I can see the South Celestial Pole. I can see stars rotating around that point, not Polaris.
sense of it in your head, picture yourself at the North Pole.
Try to make sense of it in your head. I don't want to get into your head, Brian. It's a scary, scary place.
Okay, I think these star trails are giving us false narratives in our minds. If we're dead at the North Pole and the sun is...
What? The stars are giving us false narratives. What?
closer to the equator, okay, it's going to barely come up over the horizon and then set. We're going to get less and less time in the day. So
why is it setting on flat Earth? What's in the way?
there, it's going to get smaller and smaller until it just peeks its head up and just does a tiny little arc. That's looking toward the equator. We're going to get a small arc because the stars
You get a small arc at the North Pole as well for Polaris.
that are at that latitude are going to do the same thing the sun's doing. So I think we're getting a false view of the way the stars work in our minds.
Well, I certainly agree with that, Brian. You've got a false view of the way the stars work, way anything works. How can you cobble together these random thoughts and somehow come up with all science is wrong? This would be a case study for a PhD in psychiatry, wouldn't it?
By looking at time lapses in two-dimensional photography. But one thing I hope you got from this is that if we're putting all these countries and continents on the same circle and we roll it out, we're going to get this, as long as they're part of the same circle, then every circle, every latitude is going to be the same distance. And it's almost like magic.
But it's not. It's not on the globe Earth either. Oh, Ryan Cooper, you really are on fire. The stars, they lie to us. Lying stars, you can't take them serious.
Magic. Now, when you test this, you get accurate distances. And you don't get 20,000 miles between Santiago and Sydney. So not only that, when you test the...
Correct, you don't.
total area of the world on the Gleason's map, it comes within about 500,000 square miles of the globe. So an impossible amount to detect. That small amount would never...
500,000 square miles is too small to detect. Right.
be distinguishable in reality. So that's a basic explanation of how it works and how the Globers have been strawmanning us because they don't know how to use it properly. But
what? That's a basic explanation of how it works. You haven't explained anything, and you certainly haven't explained how it works. How can you say these things and think you've got an argument?
I'm going to do a part 2 within a couple days, and I'm going to show exactly how to use it and how it works as is, and I'm going to show distances in the southern hemisphere and some other distances. So I appreciate...
I thought you were going to do that this video. Well, we'll have a look at that in a minute.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please share this video.
No. We're not going to share this video. It's too stupid. Goodness me. I'm shocked. I don't know how to react to that. Goodness me. Let's hope he does a little bit better in his second video.
I hope everybody's doing well. This is part 2 to the Gleason's map and how it is used. I'm going to show how to get distances, and we're going to do from...
Did that say, is the Bible from heaven? What's that got to do with anything?
Sydney to Perth, and from Santiago to Sydney. But real quick, I wanted to show, because there's still a couple of stubborn mules out there who think the AE map it was derived from a globe. Well, here's some of the history. It dates all the way back to the ancient Egyptians, and it dates back to the 11th century.
No, it doesn't. Can't you read what's right in front of you? The earliest text describing the azimuthal equidistant. Oh, I always have trouble saying that. The AE map. And projection. Note the word projection. It's an 11th century work by Alberini. It's saying it might have been used by them, but the earliest text, you know what that word means? Is 11th century. 1000 AD up to 1100 AD.
And all throughout history, because it's the true projection of the world. I personally believe that it's...
Oh, how did I get there?
I hope everybody's doing well. It dates all the way back to the ancient Egyptians, and it dates back to the 11th century and all throughout history, because it's the true projection of the world.
That's the bit I wanted to comment on. A true projection of the world. Again, projection. You don't understand what projection means in this context. Otherwise, you wouldn't be using it because it defeats you.
I personally believe that it's blatantly obvious that whoever made the globe hijacked the information from an AE map. It's the...
Well, the first globe dates to a couple of centuries after the 11th century, so I can see why you might draw that conclusion. Yeah. But so what,
The only way to map a celestial dome onto a surface. You can't map a celestial dome, which is what...
Are you not looking at this over here? That's an AE map centered on the South Pole. It's different, isn't it? It's still valid, but it's different. And the fact that it's different shows the first one isn't a true reflection, because this one is equally as valid.
What they use for latitudes. So you can't use a 2D surface. It's not possible. So they used the globe. It was easier. And then people...
A globe was easier than a projection. Oh, my brain hurts. This guy's just so dumb.
I guess started thinking it was a globe just because of that. But
no, as you've been told many times, we've known it's a globe for 2,500 years. You only have to be on a mountaintop, maybe 500 meters high or so, to be able to see that the horizon does not rise to level. If that's the case, it's curving away from you. The very fact that we have a horizon at all, you can ever have a clear horizon, shows that it's curving away from you. We've known it's a globe for those reasons. The Greeks could see that too 2,500 years ago. We didn't just make up the globe. We knew it was that already. We didn't have a way of representing it because, well, first of all, we didn't explore most of the globe until around the 1500s, at least the Europeans didn't. And they were pretty much the first race to be able to explore the entire globe. And then even then it took a couple of hundred years to sort of get enough information. And now we have satellites and we can see the whole globe at once from different angles. And we can get accurate maps, which we use every day. If it's not a globe, then how do we get where we're going all the time? 100%.
That's not reality. So you look and see who all's used.
You saying it's not reality doesn't make it so. I wish Flurfs would realize that. You need to present evidence.
This map. I mean, it's used by the USGS, by all radar, by military, for missiles. All the directions are accurate. It's the logo, obviously, for the United Nations.
And that means what? That means nothing.
But anyway, I mainly just wanted to show that the AE map came way before the globe. Whoever tells you different is either ignorant or...
Yeah, but they didn't have the entire globe back then when they first tried that. they were just doing an AE map of their local area, maybe 1,000 kilometers at the most. So
lying through their teeth. In a previous video, I used
yes, you are lying through your teeth.
the 24-hour method because there's 24 longitudes, but I'm going to do it the
What? 24 longitudes? The 24 hours, not longitudes.
conventional way in this video and just use two 12-hour sections. So from the center of the map to the right edge is 0 longitude or Greenwich meridian. It
Fair
marks
enough.
0. Anything above that is east of Greenwich, and anything
Above that. Only if you have the map round that way. What if you turn it the other way around? Put the 0 degree on the top. So anything to the left. You've got to use your terms correctly, Brian. You haven't even made the line match up with the North Pole.
below it is west of Greenwich, and it goes all the way to the other side, which is 180. So you have east, you could go from 0 to 180 east of Greenwich, or 0 to 180.
We all learned this when we were about 7 years old, Brian. What's your point?
West of Greenwich, east being above, west being below. So the latitude lines are circles, and there are 12 main latitude lines that are 15 degrees apart. The red line is the equator. Anything above the equator goes from 0 to 90, and there are positive latitude, and below the equator or the outside is negative 0 to 90. And y'all,
So this is just convention. You're just repeating what the convention is. Everyone knows this. What's your point?
also have the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. So let me show you how this works on the map. We start off right there at Greenwich, and then every line is 15, 30, 45, all the way to 180.
Why is he wearing a glove that makes his hand look like a Muppet's glove? Muppet's hand. Why is he wearing a glove at all? I mean, it's just a map.
So 0 to 180, and so that's east of Greenwich. Anything above is east of Greenwich, and anything below is west of Greenwich. But it's the same.
Using these terms shows you don't really understand what you're talking about, Brian. Rotated the map 180 degrees, it'd be the other way around. So don't use those terms. Talk about east and west. Don't talk about above and below, because that's irrelevant.
Same thing, 0, 15, 30, so on, all the way to
And you've said this already. Get on with it.
180. So we'll find our city, and we'll start by measuring the longitude. It says that the degrees and longitude reduce to the sun time in minutes, and that everything reduces to 60 nautical miles per degree. And that's why there are so many little lines here on the outside.
Does that... That should be a clue, Brian. Degrees. Why is it 60 nautical miles? Think about it. It comes from a section of a globe. Yes, why does a flat map have degrees?
Because between every longitude or every time zone, there are 60 minutes of arc. So for
Arc, Brian. There's another clue.
every 15 degrees, there's 60 minutes, or 4 minutes per degree of arc. So the main takeaway from this introduction,
4 minutes of degree per arc? What? What does that even mean? That's something that makes no sense to me. Maybe I'm thinking at too high level.
is that this map reduces 60 minutes of arc to 15 degrees of longitude.
Oh, I get it. He's dividing 15 into 60.
At 60 nautical miles per degree. So let's check distances. We're going to start with getting the latitude to Sydney, Australia. So to get the latitude of Sydney, there's 30 south, or negative 30 degrees latitude, and then there's 45. And we see Sydney's in between 30 and 45 south latitude.
Well, let's just check that, shall we? $33.86. So it's a little bit if it was halfway through, I think he's going to get the longitude of the latitude of Melbourne somehow by saying it's between 30 and 45. But anyway, continue, Brian.
So in between these latitude lines, we're going to make a little mini scale with 15 individual degrees to get easy and accurate measurements. I actually meant to use the other scale, but it doesn't matter. It's the same principle here.
If it doesn't matter, then how come both work?
It used to be built in as a hand on the Gleason's map, but instead of cutting it out, we're going to transfer it onto a piece of paper. So I'll show you in just a second.
Well, if we just look back at there's the hands. So that's what Gleason patented. And that's what he's referring to.
See, between 30 and 45 degrees, there's 15 little lines and there's 5 bigger lines.
Dude, we figured this out a long time ago. Why are you taking so long?
We'll mark between 2 latitudes and we'll mark 5 big lines. See how it's labeled here, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Then we'll fill in the tweeners, the 1, 2, the 4, 5, the 7, 8, so on. Or you could just take the piece of paper and put it over the scale and trace it.
This is obvious,
And
Brian.
you can
Get on
hang
with
to
it.
So every time you need to get a city's latitude accurate within a degree, then you will have it. So I'm going to show you how this works. So now we're going to locate city.
So we're halfway through his part 2, and he's finally going to get around to show us how it works. God's sake, Brian.
Sydney, and we're going to locate the nearest latitude line, which is 30 degrees. Then we're going to set our scale down and count the individual degrees. And we get 1, 2, 3, 4. So Sydney
Well done, Brian. I didn't know you could count to 4.
is 34 degrees south latitude.
And we just checked that, 33.8. Not too bad. I guess it's, this isn't exactly a point in infinitesimal point, is it? So fair enough.
Or negative 34 degrees south latitude. Now we're going to go and write down negative 34 degrees for Sydney's latitude.
I'm so glad you told us that's what you're doing. We wouldn't have been able to tell by you just doing it.
And then we're going to go on to the longitude. Now we're going to use a string line for longitude. Make sure it's long enough to make it out past the edge. Also make sure it's perfectly centered. Then you want to line it up exactly with Sydney. And you want to mark it. And it's 1 degree past the 150th east longitude. So that's 150 degrees east of Greenwich. So I circled where it's marked on the map. It's a little hard to make out here. You can count over from Greenwich if you'd like. Now we're...
Why would you if it's marked on the map? Why even say that, Brian? And, yep, 151.2.
We're going to record our longitude. So we have 34 south latitude and 151 east longitude. Next, we will do the same for Perth, and then we will follow Gleason's instructions and calculate the distance. So we've located Perth, and we got our little scale. We got 15, 30.
All right, let me quickly get Perth latitude and long. So 31.9 and 115. So roughly the same longitude. And what's that? 151 minus 115, 25? No, my head's not working. I've been watching too much Brian. Clive Wells, you're the maths guy. What's the difference? My brain's not working right now. 35, is it? So add 5 to that, makes it 120, bumps it up to 150, is another 30, 35, yeah, roughly. Yeah.
30 degrees and a little past 30. We're going to line up our little scale and we get, let's see, 2 degrees past 30. So 32 degrees south latitude for Perth.
Pretty right.
Now for the longitude. So we pull our string and the nearest longitude is 105 east, and then we got 110, 115. Yeah, 115 east longitude. So now we could get the distance between Sydney and Perth. So it's negative 32 latitude and 115. So how many degrees are?
So I think I can see why he thinks this map's accurate. He's just discovered that an AE map will get longitudes and latitudes right, but that doesn't mean the distances between them are right. This is so obvious, I don't even know how to explain it to him. Every distance from the North Pole to any other point on the map is going to be accurate. That doesn't mean distances elsewhere on the map are going to be accurate.
These apart. So there's Sydney, and the longitude from Sydney and the longitude from Perth. So we subtract 115 from 151, and we get 36 degrees.
So multiply that by
So
60 nautical miles per degree.
Degrees times 60 nautical miles.
And you get the distance between them in nautical miles.
60 nautical miles.
So he's done the same as me. He's assumed the the latitude is basically the same, which it is. So it's reasonable enough. We're only looking for an estimate. So yeah, 2160 nautical miles. I presume that's right. So what you've got to do is then compare that to other places on the map, like across the US. What's the distance between... it's a miles. 27. All right, about 4,000 kilometers. Where were we? We're watching this one. So yeah, so it's about the same distance.
Convert that into kilometers, it's approximately 4,000 kilometers. Yeah,
so the distance between the New York and Los Angeles is about 4,000 kilometers, as it is between Sydney and Perth. But as we can see on the AE map, I wish he'd move back over, that distance as represented on the map is much greater between Perth and Sydney than it is between Los Angeles and New York. That's why we say it's inaccurate. It's accurate from the North Pole to anywhere, but anywhere else on this map, it's not accurate.
So not 5,000 miles. That's not the way the AE map works, B-ball. So now we're going to check the distance between Sydney and Santiago. Since we already got the coordinates for Sydney, we're going to do Santiago. And I've already showed y'all how to do it. So I'm just going to skip to the results. So for Chile, we have 33 south latitude. And for longitude, it's 71.
And this is another point, Brian. Again, roughly the same latitude as Sydney. Different longitude, of course, because it's almost half a globe away. Why does the flight path go south of New Zealand? If it wasn't curved, why wouldn't it just go straight across? It doesn't, because that's not the fastest route. Being a globe, they have to go down almost to Antarctica and come back up. If you stand at Santiago Airport and watch this flight come in, you'll notice it's coming from the south. Same in Sydney when it's coming back the other way. And it'll leave to the south as well. It's not going east or west. Well, not directly anyway.
0.5 west of Greenwich. So 71.5 west longitude. So we have 8 full longitudes. So 8 times 15 degrees is 120. And then from Santiago, we have 3.5 left over. And then for Sydney, we have 14. So altogether, that's 137.5 degrees times 60 nautical miles is 8,250 nautical miles to do flat Earth circumnavigation.
No, it's not flat Earth. Oh, God's sake. So what you've done, Brian, is use longitude to calculate distances based on a globe. That's where the 60 nautical miles per degree comes from. Measured distance on a globe. It's got nothing to do with flat Earth. It is distorted because the corresponding distances as represented on the map don't match. You yourself proved distance between Sydney and Perth, 4,000 kilometers. And as I showed, distance between New York and Los Angeles, 4,000 kilometers. But as you can see on the map, they are not the same as represented on the map. If you calculate using longitude, yeah, that works. But longitude and latitude is based on a globe. That's why MC Toon said you can't use this. All right, there's 30 seconds left of this. Let's see what other derp he can give us.
Between Sydney and Santiago. That's roughly 15,279 kilometers. So it ain't no 20, 30,000 miles.
On the scale, it would be. If you use this scale instead of longitude, the scale as the map represents, it would be, because it's all stretched out in the southern hemisphere, as it would have to be if you're projecting a globe. Why can't you understand this? If you're going to stick to longitude, well, that's based on a globe. You've used globe concepts to calculate this.
This is how it works. This according to Gleason's instructions.
Well, I don't remember. Oops, not that one. I don't remember seeing anything about that in there. He does talk about degrees and that. I guess I have to study this to be able to answer that, so I'll reserve judgment on that. But that's not the point. The point is this is stretched out. This does not represent reality in terms of representing, of showing it, because it's a projection of reality. It's not a simple, not a hard concept to grasp, Brian.
So if you believe the globe, then that flight does about between 400 and 450 miles per hour, which I don't believe for 1 second, because they're in some of the fastest jet streams down there. So on a flat Earth, they're doing about 650 miles per hour. Which one seems more realistic?
The first one.
I'm going with the Gleason. I will have one more part to this, but thanks for watching.
No, he doesn't have one more part. At least he hasn't done it yet. We got through it. Oh, goodness me. That was utter nonsense. I'm sick of yelling about it. All right, I think it's time to go to meme roundup, and let's get a bit light again. And yes, thanks to Where's Wally for some of these memes. Some of them, not all of them. There's been a lot of memes this week. So let's have a look at what we got here. So we've got quite a few debunker memes recently, which is interesting. Why do I see the sun following a different path to the flat Earth model? So yeah, here in the southern hemisphere, we see the sun setting and rising to the south of east and west, which is impossible on the flat Earth because it's only supposed to stick between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, the GP of it. So how can we ever see it down here? I'm sure Brian couldn't answer that one. And this is just a fun one. The stormtroopers, they can't hit anything. And the red shirts from Star Trek, they can't survive anything. So if they go together, what's going to happen? Now, flirts often say, oh, where are all the satellites? Well, just in this photo, there are billions of insects living there. And we can't see any of them. No, this is a flirt meme. And yeah, I always find it amusing that flirts make memes that describe situations that they've never, ever done themselves. They have never watched their dog run away for 2 weeks. And plus, I can see the horizon. So, you know, that's the same size as this, theoretically. It can't be 2 weeks away, surely. Hand wavium, the perfect panacea. I don't know why it's in an old tin like that, but yes, it's something used by flirts in copious amounts. What is up for some, what is down for some, is down to others, is up to others. Globers say there's no up and down in space until they need their 66.6 degree tilt. This one just breaks my brain. I mean, the tilt is relative to the plane of the solar system. So where does the 90 degrees come from? It's the number they chose so they can get 666. But it's not 666, it's 66.6, completely different number. But yeah, Flurf's a lie. Got to lie to Flurf. You know, you were totally what we saw this meme originally, and then this guy put this together as a debunking meme. You know, you are totally woke when you think that crepuscular rays are literally extending out from angles from a small or noble sun. Yet you ignore the fact that if this was the case, then all shadows would radiate outward in all directions from a point below the sun. So in this photo, shadows on the left of the frame would fall to the left, those on the right would fall to the right. Is this what we observe in reality? I suspect not. Florida will be underwater soon. I'm seeing in the chat. Does that mean it'll be covered in crocodiles soon? Sorry, not crocodiles, alligators. It's happening up in North Queensland right now. So I often see this meme too, the sea level, water does not lie, people do. Yes, people do. The people who posted this meme lie. But you can see in itself, you put a line over the horizon, you see it's curving down on each side, proving curvature. The fact that there's horizon proves curvature too. And if you're doing compression, you can see underneath the line, it's curved. There's more space here and here than there is here. And another Flurf debunking meme. So there's a video and there's the URL. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see that. You can look that up yourself. And Flurfs take this video, take this screenshot, and they usually flatten it out, or they take such a small field of view that it looks flat. But if you look at the actual video, the curve is clear. So that means the person who made this meme actually knew that Earth was curved, but they made the meme to deceive Flurfs regardless. How can any Flurf see other Flurfs do that and believe in flat Earth and not understand that they've been lied to? Because they say we lied to them, but there's proof that Flurfs lie to them. If you're a Flurf, you've been brainwashed to believe nonsense by idiots. And I like this one. Let's drop flat Earth. It's 2023, and we still don't have any real photo of flat Earth. Now, this was in response to another meme that I saw. It said it's 2018, so it's an old meme. We still don't have a photo of the globe Earth, which we do. They just ignore them. But they also ignore the fact that there's no photo of flat Earth to prove that flat Earth is real. In the same, so the standard of evidence is always hypocritical. Woohoo! Look who knows so much. It just so happens that your Earth here is only mostly flat. And there's a good point. There's a big difference between mostly flat and all flat. Mostly flat is slightly curved. Flurfs don't scale. Earth am huge. Get close enough to a ball and it looks flat. Now, another deceitful Flurf meme here. They're trying to say, oh, it's all perspective. The horizon is always at eye level, which it's not, because of the laws of perspective that are observed on our flat Earth. This is irrefutable proof that the Earth is not a globe. Well, all you have to do is prove that it doesn't rise to eye level, or all level. And there's plenty of things you can do that. Get your theodolite app, go to a mountain, like I said, about 500 meters high is all you need. Take a picture of the horizon. The fact that there's a horizon is proof that there's a globe as well, because you can't have a horizon in flat Earth. Not a clear one anyway. And yeah, so this meme is irrefutably debunked. Yes, and this old chestnut, if Earth was spinning, the helicopter could stay right there for 12 hours and land on the other side of the planet. It hurts my brain. Surely they've been told It's in the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is moving with the Earth. We don't have 1,000-mile-per-hour wind every day, all the time. So this is Flurf logic. Does the air move with the rotation of the Earth? If you say no, explain the lack of wind at the equator. That's not rotation debunked. That's stationary debunked. And if you say yes to that, explain surface winds in all directions. Well, convection is the answer to that. And it doesn't debunk rotation either. Flurfs just don't brain, do they? It's just a fun one. Why science teachers should not be given playground duty, especially if your name is Newton. I've never seen a swing with so many swings on it, though. Now, Wally sent me this one and said, what is this about? And I can't figure it out either. The not war bit I get. How is this making love? What is he making love to? It makes no sense to me. Does anyone have a clue? That seems to be like a boardroom table, but it's in the middle of a gymnastics floor or something. What's he making love to? I don't understand. And you could read it, make not love war, whatever that means. Even Orion Cooper doesn't understand, so he usually has a good snappy comeback. Oh, the incel version, I guess. Yes, probably right. Yes, he's making love with himself. Eddie, you're getting spitting, are you? Of course, I have no way of seeing that. Oh, I should check the stream. Stream seems to be working. All right. And to finish off, seeing it's Christmas, you guys in the Northern Hemisphere have snow. We have sun and sand and beach here in Oz. And, okay, so have you seen a silly meme lately? Please send it to me and I'll put it up here if it's fit for general consumption. Contact details in the description of this video. Let me know who you'd like to look at in the Weekly Jarsz by leaving a comment below. I appreciate all suggestions. And given the date, I want to wish all my viewers a very happy time with your families and other loved ones in the next week or so. If you're traveling, please be safe. And if you don't particularly have families and loved ones, I encourage you to get out there and get some. Don't deny the world access to all that you are. We are all infinitely diverse from each other, and that means everyone has something about them that others can love them for, no matter what led you to this point. It's the next steps that count, not the ones already made. Join me next Friday evening, UTC, at 19:30, which is 5:30 a.m. Eastern Australian Standard Time on Saturday, for the New Year's version of the Weekly Jarsz. We'll again look back at the week in Derp and maybe the year in Derp. Do the YouTube things, like the stream, click subscribe, click join, leave a comment. I love to read your comments. And particularly if you're one of the few who watch my videos who aren't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below this video on your screen. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. I think that just about does it.
There's nothing left to do but cue the corgi.
You're despicable.
Piss off, you fat fuck.